The woman recalled the pivotal moment she first realized her sense of balance wasn't what it used to be. She was simply walking across her kitchen with no external distractions or interruptions on an ordinary day. Suddenly, her foot caught. Fortunately, she managed to stay upright, avoiding a fall. But something inside her had irrevocably shifted. A quiet voice whispered, "What if she hadn't caught herself? What if she had fallen?" That incident was deeply etched in her memory, because losing balance is far more significant than a simple stumble or a moment of clumsiness. It's a profound phenomenon that touches self-confidence, impacts independence, and, most importantly, directly affects personal safety. If a woman like her has reached the age of 60 or 70, there's crucial information she needs to know. Medical professionals state that 99% of older women will experience balance issues at some point in their lives. That statistic profoundly shocked her. 99 out of 100. However, there's a hopeful factor. Most of these problems are not solely due to the aging process. They are caused by factors that are correctable and fixable. Below, we'll discuss 8 common mistakes that subtly undermine balance, confidence, and perhaps even personal freedom, often without one realizing it. A significant portion of these mistakes are part of daily routines. Some of them you are likely making right now. Mistake number 6 in particular led to her own fall and taught her an unforgettable lesson. In this situation, you are not alone, and you are far from helpless. There are simple yet effective steps you can take, starting today, to feel stronger, steadier, and more secure. Mistake number 1, wearing the wrong shoes. When it comes to balance, most individuals tend to associate it with exercise or perhaps medication. However, one of the most significant reasons older women lose their stability starts from the ground up, with their shoes. She admitted that for years she wore dainty ballet flats. They seemed attractive, comfortable to wear, and easy to slip on. She felt good in them, or so she thought. But one afternoon, while walking on the sidewalk near her home, the edge of her ballet flat caught on a raised piece of pavement. She nearly tumbled face first into a rose bush. This wasn't just an accident. It was her wake-up call. As we age, the shape and cushioning properties of our feet change. Our arches flatten, the fatty pads on our soles thin out, and the muscles in our feet and ankles lose their quick reaction time. This means that shoes that were perfectly fine a decade ago might now be putting you at significant risk. Good shoes are far more than just something to protect your feet. They are your foundation. If that foundation is shaky, everything above it will be unstable too. So, what makes a shoe right for you now? First, it needs a sturdy, non-slip sole, which means no smooth, worn-out bottoms. Second, you need structural support, something that holds your ankle and arch securely, preventing them from moving around freely. Third, adequate cushioning is important. Look for memory foam or a supportive heel cup, especially if you're often on hard surfaces like tile or concrete. Finally, the right fit is critical. Shoes that are too loose can cause you to trip just as easily as shoes that are too tight. Now you might be thinking, I don't want to wear orthopedic shoes. They're ugly. But here's the good news. The modern market has adapted to these needs. There are now stylish yet supportive options available. She herself found a beautiful pair in a soft gray with delicate floral accents. They looked great and felt even better. And of course, let's talk about house slippers. She used to wear them all day long at home. Soft, cozy. They were absolutely slick on the bottom. They had no grip whatsoever, and she didn't realize how dangerous they were until she nearly slipped carrying a load of laundry. So now, even inside the house, she opts for shoes with proper soles. They don't have to be heavy boots, just something stable with good traction. The difference is palpable. She walks taller, feels more confident, and hasn't tripped over that notorious rug corner in months. Shoes might seem like a minor detail, but when you're over 60, these details are no longer minor. It's a matter of safety, confidence, and sometimes the difference between an ordinary day and an emergency room visit. Mistake number 2, neglecting strength training. This statement might surprise you. It certainly surprised her. For a long time, she mistakenly believed that strength training was exclusively for young people. She thought it meant going to a gym, lifting heavy weights, or participating in noisy fitness classes where everyone wore tight athletic wear. That wasn't her. She believed her daily activity, walking, cleaning, gardening, was sufficient. However, it wasn't enough. The truth is, after age 50, the human body begins to lose muscle mass every year. And we're not talking about minor losses, but significant ones. This process happens so gradually that you don't even realize it until one day you try to get up from a low chair and find you can't do it without using both hands. This isn't just aging, it's muscle loss. And the good news is, this process is reversible. She started slowly. She didn't join a gym or buy expensive dumbbells. Instead, she bought a pair of light hand weights at a local store and kept them next to her couch. She began doing simple exercises while watching TV. These were movements like bicep curls, wall push-ups, and seated leg lifts. Some days, she didn't even use the weights, relying solely on her body weight. The goal wasn't to look like a fitness model. The goal was to regain the strength she had unknowingly lost. The changes appeared quickly. Within a few weeks, she noticed it was easier to get up from the couch. She felt stronger carrying groceries. She even started walking uphill with more confidence. But more importantly, her body regained its ability to react quickly. You know that moment when you trip and instinctively try to catch yourself? If your legs and core aren't strong enough, your body will just collapse. But with strength, your body resists. It stabilizes. It keeps you upright. And then there's the emotional component. Strength isn't just physical, it's also a mental and emotional state. When you feel strong, you act confidently. You stop avoiding curbs, uneven paths, or stairs. You reclaim your freedom. Just 10-15 minutes 3 times a week. That's all it takes. And you can do it at home, in your pajamas, watching your favorite show. No pressure, just progress. Every small improvement matters, because strength protects not only against falls, but also against fear. Mistake number 3, ignoring vision changes. You might not think about your vision when it comes to balance, but the two are intimately connected, far more than most people realize. She certainly didn't make the connection at first. She just thought she was a little clumsy in the dark, or that the lighting in her house was too dim. But one night she got up to use the bathroom. She didn't turn on the light, not wanting to wake her husband. And as she tiptoed down the hallway, she completely missed the edge of a small throw rug. She fell hard on her knee. It took over a week for the limp to fully disappear. That incident taught her a crucial lesson. Your eyes play a critical role in helping your brain navigate space. It's not just about being able to read or recognize faces. It's also about judging distance, detecting contrast, and navigating steps, shadows, and uneven surfaces. As we age, our vision changes. These changes might not seem dramatic, but they're enough to affect depth perception and balance. You might not realize you're stepping an inch too far, or not far enough until it's too late. Many women over 60 continue to wear glasses with outdated prescriptions. She admitted she had worn hers for almost 4 years without an update, thinking they were good enough. But after that fall, she finally visited her optometrist, and sure enough, her prescription had changed. She also learned about options like anti-glare coatings and lenses designed to improve contrast in low light. These minor improvements made a huge difference. It's not just about glasses. Lighting plays a crucial role, too. A dimly lit hallway or bathroom can make it hard to see and throw off your balance, especially in the middle of the night. She added small nightlights to her bedroom, hallway, and bathroom. They were inexpensive and easy to install, but they gave her a new sense of confidence when moving around in the dark. If your glasses are scratched, old, or not suited to your current needs, they could be putting you at risk every single day. And if your home is full of dark corners or shadows, your eyes are doing extra work, leading to disorientation, dizziness, and even vertigo. So do yourself a favor. Clean your lenses, schedule an eye exam, Replace dim light bulbs with brighter, warmer ones. Balance starts with what you see. Make sure your vision is clear. Mistake number 4, ignoring medication side effects. This mistake hit her much closer to home than she'd like to admit. A few years ago, she started a new blood pressure medication. She'd been feeling a bit lightheaded from time to time, so her doctor prescribed something to help. She took it as directed and expected to feel better. Instead, she started feeling more unsteady. When she stood up from the couch, the room would tilt slightly. At first, it was barely noticeable, just enough to make her pause and steady herself. She blamed it on being tired or maybe dehydrated, but deep down, she knew something was off. Then one evening, when she stood up too quickly, she stumbled and hit the coffee table. She didn't fall, thank goodness, but it scared her badly. That night, she finally read the fine print on her pill bottle, and there it was, plain as day. May cause dizziness or loss of balance. She wished she had paid attention sooner. As we age, our bodies metabolize medications differently. A dosage that was perfectly fine at 50 might be too strong at 70. Plus, many people are on multiple medications, and their side effects can interact in ways that doctors don't immediately catch. The truth is, you have to be your own advocate. Your doctor sees many patients. You are the only one living in your body. If something feels off, even a little, write it down. Dizziness, fatigue, a slight wooziness. Don't dismiss these symptoms. Bring a detailed list to your doctor or pharmacist, including every medication, even over-the-counter pain relievers, vitamins, and supplements. When she spoke up, her doctor carefully reviewed everything she was taking. He adjusted the dosage of that blood pressure medication, and like magic, the dizziness disappeared. Her balance improved, her confidence returned. So, here's her advice. Never ignore the signals your body is trying to send. Trust your instincts, read your medication labels carefully, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't settle for, "It's just old age." Sometimes it's the medication, and sometimes a simple adjustment can make a world of difference in your daily stability. Mistake number 5, grabbing furniture instead of using a cane. For a long time, she convinced herself she didn't need a cane. She saw herself as independent and perfectly capable of getting around. Sure, sometimes she'd reach for the back of a chair or lean on the kitchen counter, but that didn't mean anything serious, right? Wrong. What she was doing is a common practice among many older adults, one they do without even realizing it. It's called furniture walking, using chairs, tables, walls, and countertops to steady yourself as you move through your home. It might seem like a harmless habit, but it's actually a red flag. She called it maintaining her independence, but what was really driving her was fear. Fear of what using a cane would mean. Would people look at her differently? Would she feel old, weak? Then one afternoon, she was carrying a full laundry basket from the bedroom to the living room. Her hands were full, so she had nothing to hold on to. As she stepped onto the hardwood floor, she slipped slightly, just enough to lose her footing and nearly fall right into the end table. That moment scared her more than she cared to admit. That same week, she went shopping and found a beautiful, lightweight cane with a floral pattern that actually made her smile. It had a comfortable grip, and she wasn't ashamed to use it. In fact, she felt relieved, because now, instead of grabbing furniture that wasn't designed to support her, she had something that was specifically engineered for that purpose, for her safety. Since then, she walks taller, moves more confidently, and no longer feels the need to catch herself every few steps. And no one has ever looked at her with pity. In fact, more often than not, people admire the cane and comment on how stylish it is. Using a cane isn't an admission of defeat. It's not giving up. It's choosing strength. It's choosing safety. And most importantly, it's choosing peace of mind. If you find yourself reaching for furniture more often than you used to, even just in case, that's your body asking for help. And there's nothing weak about listening to it. Mistake number 6, avoiding balance exercises. Let's be frank, she didn't even know balance exercises existed until she attended a local wellness class at the community center. She assumed it would be stretching, Maybe a little seated yoga. She certainly didn't expect to be standing on one leg or walking in a straight line, heel to toe. And she certainly didn't expect to feel so incredibly unsteady. That first class was a wake-up call for her. She realized she had been doing almost nothing to actively maintain her balance. She mistakenly believed it would just stick around, like breathing or blinking, but it doesn't. As we age, our balance gradually weakens. It's not due to neglect, but because we stop challenging it. Our ankles become less flexible, our core muscles weaken, and our brain stops practicing those small micro-corrections that used to come naturally. But here's the beautiful thing. Balance can be trained even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. Your body is still capable of learning. She started small, standing on one leg for 15 seconds while brushing her teeth, walking down the hallway with her feet in a straight line, heel to toe, shifting her weight from her left foot to her right while holding onto the back of a chair. It didn't require expensive equipment or long workouts, just a little intention and a few minutes here and there. And you know what happened? She started feeling more confident. She stopped bracing herself every time she stood up. She stopped hesitating when stepping off curbs or navigating gravel. And one morning, she caught herself dancing in the kitchen, something she hadn't done in years. Balance isn't just physical. It's a deeply emotional experience tied to trust. Trusting your body again. If you don't know where to start, free resources are everywhere. Videos, senior classes, balance guides, even some insurance plans now offer online programs. Don't wait for a fall to take your balance seriously. Treat it like brushing your teeth. Something simple, daily, and life-changing over time. Just 5 to 10 minutes a few times a week can protect your future far more than you realize. Mistake number 7. Not drinking enough water. Of all the things she learned about aging, this one was perhaps the most surprising and most commonly overlooked. Not drinking enough water can negatively affect your balance. Yes, it really can. Mild dehydration, the kind that creeps up on you throughout the day, can lead to lightheadedness, confusion, fatigue, and even a slight wooziness when you stand up, and that puts you at a real risk of falling. Now, here's the catch. As we age, our sense of thirst changes. Our bodies don't always send the same strong signals they used to, so even if you don't feel thirsty, you might still be low on fluids. For years, she thought she was doing fine. She'd have tea in the morning, a cup of coffee in the afternoon, and maybe a little water with dinner. But she didn't realize that tea and coffee, especially caffeinated ones, can actually contribute to dehydration. And when she did the math, she was consuming less than 4 cups of water a day. That's simply not enough, especially for someone in her 70s. Then came the headaches, the mid-afternoon slumps, the time she stood up too quickly and had to grab the wall because everything tilted. She assumed it was just normal aging. But when her doctor asked how much water she drank, she didn't have a good answer. That day, she started keeping a small notebook by her refrigerator. Every glass she drank, she marked down. She aimed for 6 to 8 cups of plain water every day, not counting tea or soda. And the difference was astonishing. She had more energy. She slept better. Her joints didn't ache as much, but most importantly, she felt steadier on her feet. So here's her suggestion. Keep water where you can see it. On your nightstand by your favorite chair. In your purse when you leave the house. Sometimes a pretty water bottle and a slice of lemon or cucumber are all it takes to make drinking water a little more appealing. If you don't like plain water, try herbal teas or even broth-based soups. Just be mindful of added salt or sugar. The goal is to stay hydrated in a way that's sustainable and natural for your lifestyle. Hydration might not seem like a big deal, but for women her age, it absolutely is. It supports every system in your body, including the one that keeps you upright. Drinking enough water is one of the simplest, cheapest, and most powerful ways to protect your balance. Mistake number 8. Living in a home not adapted for fall prevention. The last mistake she wanted to talk about is so common that people barely notice it until it's too late. She calls it living in a home not adapted for fall prevention. The thing is, people spend so much time in their homes that they start to overlook the small hazards. That throw rug that's been there for 20 years. That lamp cord stretched across the hallway. The step from the garage to the kitchen that's just a little too high. People know their homes by heart, but their bodies change, and what used to be easy can suddenly become dangerous. The moment of realization came one morning when she was carrying a laundry basket. Her hands were full, and as she stepped into the hallway, her foot caught on the corner of a rug. She didn't fall, but her foot snagged, leading to a nasty ankle incident that forced her to sit on the floor. That ankle injury kept her from her morning walks for 2 weeks, all because of a common rug she had walked over countless times. After that incident, she looked at her home with new eyes, assessing it not just visually, but for safety. And what she found surprised her. The bathroom had no grab bars, just slippery tile and a bath mat that constantly slid underfoot. The hallway had only one dim light bulb, and in the kitchen, she kept her most frequently used pots on a low shelf, forcing her to bend and twist. All these details that had seemed perfectly normal for decades were hidden risks. So she made a few simple changes. She removed all loose throw rugs and replaced them with non-slip ones. She installed a grab bar next to the toilet and inside the shower. The dim light bulbs were replaced with warm LED ones. She even got a motion sensor nightlight for the hallway. And instead of bending for items in the bottom cabinet, she moved the pots she used most often to waist height. None of these changes cost a fortune, but they brought something priceless: peace of mind. And it's worth noting that there's no shame in adapting your home to meet your current needs. You're not coddling yourself. You're protecting your independence. You're making it easier to move through life with confidence. And if someone else comes to visit, whether it's a grandchild or a friend, they'll benefit too. Here's a quick checklist she recommends for anyone over 60. Remove any rugs that slide or curl at the edges. Secure cords or run them behind furniture. Install grab bars in bathrooms, not just in the shower, but next to the toilet too. Add night lights in the hallway, bathroom, and bedroom. Store frequently used items at waist height to avoid bending or reaching. Use a shower chair if your legs get tired while bathing. Make sure all stairs have handrails, preferably on both sides. These aren't radical transformations, but they make your home a safer, more supportive space. And that means more freedom, more confidence, and less worrying about what if. Because here's the truth. Most falls happen at home. But most falls are also preventable, not by fear, but by preparation. So take a little time to look at your space with fresh eyes. Ask yourself, if I were visiting this home for the first time, what would make me feel safer? Then, take action. Little by little, day by day. Everyone deserves to live in a space that cares for them, just as they've cared for others their whole lives. So, there they are. 8 common mistakes that quietly, slowly, but surely undermine balance, confidence, and sometimes independence. Some of them seem so minor, like skipping a glass of water or wearing the same shoes you've trusted for years. Others, like ignoring vision changes or neglecting medication side effects, seem like things you'll get to later. But together, these habits accumulate, and over time, they can turn into real risks. But here's the beautiful truth. You don't have to accept these things as an inevitable part of aging. You have more strength than you think, more control than you've been told. And you are not alone in this. It's important for everyone to truly understand that you are still capable of being strong. You are still worthy of stability. You are still deserving of a life that feels steady and secure. If you've been afraid to walk on an uneven path, if you've skipped a walk because of your balance, if you've ever quietly thought, "What if I fall and no one is around?" then this message is for you. Caution is not a sign of weakness. Rather, preparation is a sign of wisdom. You show true courage when you choose to actively address these changes, rather than shying away from them. Paying proper attention to maintaining your balance is not a surrender. Instead, it symbolizes the ability to remain upright, both in a literal physical sense and in a metaphorical emotional one. It is the path to building the kind of inner confidence that allows you to move forward in life with certainty once more. guided not by fear, but by a feeling of complete freedom.